Welcome to today's very special episode of Reidsville Chambers of Commerce News and Views. You will notice that the wrong person is introducing you this morning. I am Steve Scott, president of Tri-State Steel, and I have a very special guest with me today for this 100th anniversary episode. CEO and President Diane Sawyer is actually going to be the one who gets to be interviewed as opposed to being the interviewer. I am extraordinarily excited about this opportunity. I'm humbled that I was asked to do it. I am grateful for all that the Chamber does for us as a business and the community, but I'm really excited about this opportunity. So without more fanfare, although I want glitter bombs and all of that stuff, may I introduce Mrs. Diane Sawyer, President and CEO of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Steve. I couldn't have asked for a better introduction, and I am beyond elated that we are at our 100th News and Views. So thank you for being the host today, and thank you for your constant commitment to my brand and my chamber and my community, our chamber, and just in general being the backbone of a lot of things that happen in Reidsville and Rockingham County and stretching all the way to UNC Greensboro and all the other areas of the state and beyond that you reach. Thank you.
It's really exciting. There's so much to cover with this particular idea that you came up with. And I have to imagine that a 100th episode was never on your mind years ago when you asked Heather Adams to join you for the first News and Views. So take me back to pre-episode 1, reaching out to Heather, and what was your hope? What was your goal? What was your dream for what News and Views would become? Because I can't imagine that you understood what would transpire.
No, I really didn't have any idea. I will say this show and this idea, the very first thing I will do is to thank Roy Sawyers, owner of Rockingham Update, who is producing this show and has produced this show from day one, for his constant support and his constant push to allow me to do this show and to bring this to the community, to being the vehicle and the channel that brings so much important information to our community. He came to me and he was like, I think you need to do this. What do you think about doing this? He was on my board then and he cycled off and he is back now. Constant supporter, one of my favorite people in the world. And I just said, oh, I don't know. Let me think about it. And I'll tell you the history there. I had a show at my former job. I was at the Martinsville-Henry County Coalition for Health and Wellness. I have talked about that on this show quite a bit, that by original trade and career and degree, I'm a public health educator. And I did that job. I was in that role for 7 years, and BTW 21 has a TV station there, and they had approached me about being a host of a show. And so I did a weekly 30-minute segment with them where I interviewed folks, but I also, their Fast Track, which is what our expo originally was designed after, I would go around and speak to the businesses and to the vendors. And so all of that experience, and Roy knew about that, and we had discussed it, and he just said, I think it's time for you to start telling the chamber story, because at the time, 15 years ago, I was hired to not only run the chamber, but to improve the relationship with the city, and for multiple reasons. And it was time for people to start knowing that the chamber was a force to be reckoned with, that our board was serious about our commitment to the community and to the businesses. And so at that time, Heather Adams was a very strong executive director for the Rockingham County Partnership for Children. And because it fit into my former work, and she was a board member of the chamber at the time, it was just the absolute right fit for a first guest, because she is so well-spoken, she is so passionate, and she was such a driver of the things that were happening and the change that was happening in our community at that time as a nonprofit leader. So she was my first choice for all of those reasons, and it was a wonderful show. Had no idea we would be doing this, obviously, years later. And I was doing one show at a time, and most people know now I usually do 3 a month. So the content has quickly, exponentially grown over the last couple of years.
Let's talk about that content, because yesterday you and I were at an event. There's some movement by the Reidsville Area Foundation to help the community find its collective voice and feel more comfortable and be able to work closer together. And one of the things that was spoken about yesterday was having the ability to be a catalyst for space for people to feel trusted and come together and help tell their story, share their victories. You've really turned the corner with embracing, celebrating people's narratives. Talk about that some and how that's come to be and how you've seen guests be able to share that during these 100 episodes.
Well, a very good friend of mine constantly reminds me that we should celebrate our wins. And, you know, one of the things that I do, and I think, and I hope, that the people who are behind this movement understand and see about me is that I wear my emotions on my sleeve and I'm very transparent. I bring together the chamber and my personal life and who I am kind of all in one package. And when I came to the chamber, my oldest child was 12 weeks old. And I came to the chamber because the former job, I was driving into a community that was not my home and giving everything I had. And after 6 weeks maternity leave and starting back in that role, I knew something had to change for me. And so that started my personal journey that led me to the chamber journey of celebrating life and picking and choosing the right path based on what I was putting in. I wanted to see the return on my investment. And I couldn't get the same return on my investment in that community that I could in my own. And so we'll backtrack a little bit further. My history with Reidsville is that my mother was at Penn Hospital for over 30 years, and that I was a candy striper, junior volunteer, whatever you would like to call that, in my teenage years. And as I started driving after that, I would come visit her. She was a third shift. She's always been a night owl. And it's going to bring it full circle because I started driving over to come to the Penrose Mall and to shop at Hodgepodge, which we're going to talk about, I'm sure, in this conversation. And I just felt a pull to Reidsville. So fast forward to 6 weeks of maternity leave, coming to the Walgreens from my house in Reidsville and looking around the city and looking around downtown and feeling just this feeling of this is meant to be my home. Like there's something here. Go back to work, and I got a call. And so back to the interview days of interviewing the businesses, I was doing worksite wellness. I had a very heavy business and industry resume in my public health education role. And I got a phone call from Sharon Shirashilla at Staff Masters, which then became Higher Dynamics. And those two names, like both her name of herself and her organization, did not strike me as anything but spam, if I'm going to be honest. And so I called her back. We ended up talking for 45 minutes where she prayed over me, prayed over this job, prayed over the decision that I made. And all of those things together, collectively, I was celebrating a new job, a new baby, and I started meeting all these people. You're one of those people. And as I had more children and things were happening at the chamber, and we kept talking about celebrating and celebrating wins and celebrating. And so you jumped on board with celebrating my oldest as she was in her journey for travel softball. And we just kept talking about personal wins, community wins, and this community has had a lot of wins. We don't talk about the good stuff, and we don't talk about the wins. And so I have constantly seen my role as telling the good things. And I have 3 children in the school system. They are all bilingual. There's some really good stuff happening around that conversation. And I talk about that frequently. But we have landed some really great industries. We have expanded some of our really great industries. We have a ton of heart here with our small businesses. And telling those stories and celebrating those things is one of my major, if you look at the mission of the chamber, we are to champion our community. And that is a huge piece of the mission that we created. And to me, champion and celebrate just go together, right?
In Reidsville.
It does in Reidsville.
As our football team is once again
The
preparing
NC Capital.
preparing to play
football.
for another state championship. But it's hard to change your mindset about celebrating victories, because sometimes when you celebrate victories, people are like, oh, you don't talk about the real stuff. But victories are the real stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's something that so often people get uncomfortable. They're very comfortable talking about the negatives. Oh, the Reidsville Mall looks like doo-doo. Oh, well, here comes Tom Holderby, right? Through a collective chamber,
mm-hmm.
city councilman.
Mm-hmm.
And so that constant telling the truth, and the truth is often it's okay to celebrate victories. So in doing that, if you can, what are some of the really exciting things that you've been able to sit down and allow people to talk about, if you can pick one or two?
Oh my goodness.
One off the top of my hat, always, because she's such a vibrant person, is Abby, mm-hmm. right?
So it's funny that you bring that up, because she and I have had several conversations in the last couple months. And here come the tears. So she took the time to handwrite a card to me. It is still sitting on the dash of my car. And she said, "You have been a fan. You have encouraged me. You have celebrated me from day one at 16 years old." She was like, "You are a huge part of this journey, all the way back to Aspen and her bakery in Wentworth, when she was a student in our school system at the early college, getting it done ahead of time and opening a business." And she was coming in at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning and baking, and then going to school and having people run the bakery, and then coming back to the bakery. And in her card, she said, "I will always be a ride or die for you and for the chamber, because you have always had my back." And to watch her blossom, to come through COVID, to make the okay decision to change her path and her school path and what she was doing to become the Boardwalk Baker, that brand, that name, to having the food truck, to opening the downtown Boardwalk Baker.
To fight for downtown.
To fight for downtown. And that's where that card came from, because she said to me, you set me straight when I need to be set straight, but you support me when I need the support. I can always talk to you. And like, that's my goal. My goal is that I'm a safe space for our business owners. Because you know what? Celebrating wins is great, but sometimes, and you and I talk about this, it happens to us too. Sometimes that depletes our energy.
Absolutely.
And our battery. And it's really hard for that people battery, that social battery, the community battery that gets knocked down so easily sometimes, to just get back up on another day and give that energy back. And she's one of those people who I'm able to say we can celebrate. She's one of the people who has come on the show as an ambassador. She's a huge brand ambassador for us. And celebrating her is easy because, well, for one, I mean, it's the Boardwalk Baker, right? So it's cupcakes and treats and all the things. But what she's doing, what she has done as a young person, to come back to our community and open a very vibrant, successful business. Like, I mean, she's the cover of the magazine when we talk
Right.
about what that should look like.
About young people being engaged in
Correct.
business and the community, and I know behind the scenes, and you don't like to toot your own horn, but I will for you on this one. You help cut the red tape for people a lot.
Yeah.
You don't work for the city. I think there's always a lot of confusion about that.
Mm-hmm.
You do not work for the city. You're an independent resource who connects business to city. And a lot of times you can get the right person to the right person at the right time to help them. Another person that I know that you have interviewed, who's a character, is Cecil.
Oh, goodness.
Right?
Yes.
And
More than one time.
And if we're going to celebrate victories in the
Yeah.
15 years that you've been doing these 100 episodes, I know Cecil's been sitting in this chair more than once. What MJM Ministries is getting ready to do at the corner of our community, the absolute welcome center of our community, over across from Tractor Supplies, it's staggering. And it was a vision. Cecil's been talking about it for how long?
A long time, since Andy and Loretta, and a piece of cake.
Right.
And where that whole story started at camp. Cecil is a character. I love him dearly. And you're right. That is the absolute welcome center. It is the busiest intersection by traffic counts in Rockingham County. And it is absolutely a cornerstone and a staple. And what they are going to do for our special people and heroes and their families is going to be game-changing for Reidsville and Rockingham County and regionally, because people are going to come from all over to be a part of that. And this vision goes back to, again, camp, but also people, if they don't remember, and if you've been around a while, you may remember, but a piece of cake was so wonderful at the bakery because it used to be across from where my office was originally. And there were tables in there, and people would come in and they would get their slice of cake and they would sit down. And so many dreams from MJM were born at camp and then discussed with Andy and Loretta at a piece of cake. And then from there on out, Cecil really took the vision and championed it. And he took the reins as the executive director and made the connections. He prayed over, he took the vision, he took the guidance from the Lord that said, this is what we're going to do. And then he made some really smart decisions for the future of that organization. In the board members that were brought on, in the consultants that were brought on, the folks out of Texas that they work with and have modeled so many of the things that they're doing after. And then I will toot the Chamber's horn in this one. My board chair at the time was Jesse Metter, and my current coming on in January chair is Eden Combs. And as they were finding each other and becoming friends and neighbors and a powerhouse
And
duo
growing,
growing
right.
together, growing on the board, growing in their positions. And Cecil
Also have sat in these
and
chairs
they
more than
have,
once, right?
They have. And Cecil was looking to find a replacement because he did not want to let go until he knew somebody had that.
This takes us to the grasshoppers,
And it
right?
takes us to the Greensboro Grasshoppers, where Eden said to Jesse, pointing at Jesse for Cecil to have a conversation, who did not know. And it blows my mind still they didn't know each other.
Right.
But they didn't. And the rest was history.
Right. And one of the things, this takes me back to yesterday, which was we need a space. A space doesn't necessarily have to be a room.
That's right.
Right? It's the collective, it's community. And I know that you are so passionate about community and how important that is to you. Talk about how this program, these 100 episodes, have allowed you to really engage with the community, particularly the business city part of the connection.
So there's a lot to unpack in that. I'll talk about another one of our very good friends, Robbie City.
The king.
Yes.
The one and only.
The one and only.
The great Robbie City.
Robbie found himself overnight in the position of becoming the chamber, literally overnight becoming the board chair of the Chamber of Commerce. And in a down cycle at the time, Robbie turned that around, but in a down cycle of the board, which happens, nonprofit cycle, board cycle,
Business cycles.
But he found himself, I hate to say stuck, but he found himself in that position for quite some time. And he knew, while I had improved the relationship with the city and the city council and the mayor at the time and the way that things were going, but I was almost at a plateau of where that was. So 2 major things happened in that time. One was that Home Trust came alongside Robbie and alongside the chamber.
Who was also at the meeting yesterday.
Who was also at the meeting yesterday. And Jonathan Job, who led the charge.
He's a really good guy.
He is a good guy. And I love that he was there representing all of Rockingham County. Branches both in Eden and Reidsville, but, you know, they go beyond that, headquartered in Asheville. And so they became the sponsors and naming rights of the lobby of what is now the permanent home of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center at 140 South Scale Street.
And has become, quite honestly, the anchor of our community. Between that building and Market Square, we have an anchor. And I think that really speaks to the community part of it.
It does. And the third partner, and alongside that, and I will tell you, at the time, Mayor Jay Doniker was a huge part of this.
Yeah, Jay deserves a lot of credit.
He deserves so much credit. We pulled together the 4 groups, and it was the Downtown Merchants, the Chamber of Commerce, the Reidsville Downtown Corporation, and Reidsville City Council. There were 12 folks, 3 from each of the 4 organizations, and I'll bring in another major player at the time, Annie Penn Hospital. We had a meeting there with our consultant at the time, Michael Long, and Jay led the charge of, we want a physical place to be able to point to call home. The word kiosk was used quite a bit, but
it's a big kiosk.
It's such a big kiosk.
It's a big kiosk.
It's a real big kiosk. I'm still fighting to get the little bitty kiosk inside the lobby. We're working on that. But what came out of that was the vision and the partnership with the city for the visitor center piece.
And Robbie also gets a lot of credit for that.
He gets so much credit there.
He pulled some rabbits out of a hat.
Donald Gorham does too.
Yeah.
Donald Gorham was a huge part of that conversation, and that was prior to him being the mayor, but he was one of those folks who was at that meeting and who also understood. And, you know, since then, so many things have happened. We've won more rings, and we've put up flags that we're the NC football capital. And so many of those.
Team Reidsville took off.
And the Team Reidsville took off. And so all of those things together are what launched us into the next phase of where the chamber grew, our partnership with the city grew. That's how we landed, to answer your question, of this connection. And our current mayor, Donald Gorham, you know,
the single largest cheerleader for the city of Reidsville.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
And the Green Bay Packers, but we'll let him slide on that.
Yeah.
So you and I both disagree with him on that. But I will say he was so instrumental, and he took the baton so well from Jay in the role of the mayor. And one of the things that we talk about, and he says this publicly, and I'm sure we'll hear it later on this episode, that the chamber and the city have a great marriage, and it's a partnership, just like a marriage should be. And so you're right, I'm not an employee of the city. The chamber has its own board. We have been in existence for over 100 years. We are a 501c6 nonprofit of the association kind, as determined by law. But we are and will continue to be a huge proponent of the city, the chamber, the businesses, the residents, the citizens, the community being partners and working together for the betterment of our young people and our citizens and our businesses and our industry.
And I think this forum, this 100 episodes, has shown that to be true. It allows the space again to have Summer come and speak, the mayor come and speak, councilman. You had Councilman Coates on recently, and he was able to talk about the things he's passionate about in the city.
Yep.
There's no other way for the community to get access to those things without this program. And I know that you don't like to talk about you, and you've spun this conversation away from you at every chance that you could get. But I also know that you are and have grown into using this forum as an opportunity for you to show your authentic self, not the spokesperson for the chamber, but this forum has allowed you to be the emotional, passionate, sometimes over the top Diane that you are, and that we're so fortunate to have as a community, because you're so passionate that sometimes that means tears like are welling up in your eyes right now. Talk about some of those moments where this sit down has just become out of the blue very emotional for you, where you're just like, whoa, I'm going to have to just allow Diane to come through right now.
It's funny you say that, and you're right. The tears are coming. There's so many things I could say to that. Cecil was one of those, absolutely, because the work that they do is so special.
We are so blessed to have that organization here, because
we really are.
Your heart just explodes when you're around that group of folks.
Pure love. There is no other way. That is the love of Jesus Christ, like walking on the earth. Like, they are pure. They are so pure, and you can't. No matter what you do, you can't hurt it. You can't touch it.
I get around Matthew, and it's just contagious.
And Cecil walked the walk as a guardian.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
has done that and shown by example. Oh gosh, that's one of them. I'll tell you another one. You talk about characters, and every time you say the word character, and I think about characters who've been on the show.
I know who's coming.
Catherine
and
Church.
She is authentic consistent and authentic.
Yep. She's who she is.
And leads with love, but boy, she will tug at your heartstrings.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I have actually been criticized for in the 15 years is there was a time where coffee, we couldn't get away from the stretch, but the Lord was present multiple times in several, and we got criticized for this is a business organization, should not be about religious stuff. Well, here's the thing. This business organization has nonprofits as members, and that includes faith organizations. It includes folks like Mount Jubilee, who faith is at the center of everything that they do. And Catherine Church is one of those who will tell you that she leads with love and she leads with her faith.
Right. And she is Christ-centered.
And she is Christ-centered. So there are so many things in my own journey, in my own path. A lot of people know, that I have suffered loss. Riley Kate is my rainbow baby. I lost a baby before her, but also my son was an identical twin. And that happened in my time here. And we lost his brother William at about 20 weeks. And then thankfully, we were able to successfully and healthy, and I still have a healthy bouncing baby 9-year-old boy. Gosh.
Basketball star.
Yes. But all of those things and talking about being my authentic self, people like Catherine have allowed me to be my authentic self. And, one of the things that we talked about on the show were not only her role in the different businesses. She is a huge advocate for the prison ministry. She herself You have been a second chance employer, and we have talked a lot about how giving people second chances and how trying to build people up. She talked about that on the show, and she talked about her own personal experience. I mentioned to you before we came on the show, a lot of people don't know that I was friends with Catherine's older brother, and she's told that story. I will not tell that story because it's hers to tell, and she has told. But I was not prepared when she came on the show that the show was going to go the direction that it did, and that we were going to have such a connection. That show changed our relationship. I don't know that I had ever slowed down enough. People say this a lot. I actually had it happen to me at Leadership Rockingham this week. Somebody said, I'm going to take a selfie with you because you've never sat still long enough, to do that because you're just bouncing off the walls. And Catherine took me by surprise because she's also very much that way. She doesn't sit still.
High energy.
Very high energy. And the two of us together, somebody making us, Roy having us sit behind his cameras and us sitting in chairs very much like this at the chamber, it was life altering. I mean, the conversations that we had and the things that we discussed, and it just made us stop. And that's something this show does make me do. And so for 3 hours on the second Friday of every month, I spend time with folks in this setting, and it makes me slow down, and I walk away so grateful, and I love that I do it on Friday. It kicks off the weekend, and I usually go to lunch with Summer, and so the city manager and I have a whole meeting about what we just talked about, and what we're going to talk about next time, and what we're going to do between now and then, because we meet regularly to discuss how can we make Reidsville better? How can we work together? What do we have for each other? What do we need to do? Because, full circle, the question you asked previously, Robbie and his relationship with our former city manager, Preston Mitchell, they both passed the baton, and now Summer and I have carried that and that relationship and nurtured it. And he brought it up this week on the preface of the meeting we were at yesterday and the night before. And so all of those things full circle, Catherine's one of those that has done that to me and made me go, oh my gosh. There are multiple. Cecil has done that to me. My staff has done that to me. We had a show.
It was the 50th show.
It was.
It was the 50th show. Now, my personal favorite shows are 26 and 49. But, that's from a selfish standpoint. But the 50th show was Debbie and Katie.
It was. And at the time, Miss Starr was sick. And so
Yep.
we are literally a week away from her retirement. And I know that we are all going to be really sad to see her go.
We are.
But my staff.
Speaking of leading with love.
Yes, speaking of leading with love.
Star leads with love.
She does. And you're going to get a hug or
Yep.
a kiss or whether you wanted it
Yeah,
or not.
that's exactly right.
And a kind word.
Yes.
And a smile.
Yes.
And, I could not do what I do without my staff. And Katie has become my right hand. She just recently became the operations coordinator. She also leads with love. And she has had a very exciting, up and down exciting and emotional year. And, Debbie came to us, retired from the state, and chose at that time to walk away from that job and retire to come work for us, to bring her expertise and knowledge of the businesses and be able to help us across the county work on those things. But Denise Brady, we are also pending her retirement in April. And I inherited Denise, and Denise has stuck with me, minus a short time to help take care of her family. There are no words to describe what she means to me and what she has been able to do. And she has supported me. Not sometimes without protest, but more about needing to understand the vision. But she's always supported the vision, and she's always supported this community.
She is, like Mayor Gorham, a enormous cheerleader for this community.
And will continue to be even after
Always.
she's retired.
Yes, she and Patrick have done so much for so many people.
And behind the scenes.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Yes, with zero celebration. So, where do we go from here? What does this conversation look like for the 200th celebration, right? Because I know that you had no intentions of grinding through this, because there's days you've been sick or pregnant or family emergencies or hurricanes and you've sat down in these chairs anyhow. What's the goal? Where does this program go, and what is your vision?
It's funny. Roy jokes a lot that I'm allergic to him, because it does tend to be a thing where Star has handed me cough drops and water off camera when the guest was speaking. I've had to cancel, unfortunately, due to sickness, either myself or my children. But we've been pretty consistent, and consistency, I think, is the key in this whole vibe of community and the positive storytelling. The narrative is that
trust comes from consistency.
Correct. The people that make this worth it are the random strangers on the street who come up to me and say, "I saw you on television." But you know how that happened? That happened because Roy Sawyer's fought for me and fought for this show and fought for me to tell my story, because he makes sure that it hits the Spectrum channels, and he makes sure that it hits the social media channels and the YouTube and the Chamber's avenues. The goal that we are still trying to figure out,
that we were promised would happen.
Yes. Is a more permanent TV presence.
Yes.
Across the community. And
that's a big challenge.
And it is a challenge. People have to want to hear the story and to see the people of the community. And I think for me, it started out being a way to highlight our members. And then it became a way to highlight our chamber champions. And it became a way monthly to have the city of Reidsville sit in my chair and tell the world, anybody that was willing to listen, full transparency, all the things. You know, one of the things that Summer and I spent months talking about was the money post-COVID and how they chose to do the streetscape because nobody could see the underneath infrastructure.
Right.
And how people couldn't reach out and touch that.
And how dangerous it would be if we didn't invest that money.
Correct. And so they had to find a way to do both, and they did. And we talk about the 30 different projects that Public Works has going on so that we don't become a Flint, Michigan.
Right.
So that we don't become other neighboring communities who haven't focused on, you know, long before Jay Doniker, long before Donald Gorham. And then with Jay Doniker, because he goes way back, right, to his start on city council. But the forethought of the council and Lake Reidsville.
Arnold Robertson has the longleaf pine because of this very thing.
Correct. And us selling water and us having our own water source. And then the council, in my 15 years, doing the spillway project and rebuilding the spillway. Like, they have done the things. And I know, you know, we'll be honest
and
again.
And the not popular things.
And the not popular things. And we'll be transparent.
That have brought in a lot of negative comments.
Oh, my goodness. And having to explain and try to educate. So that's one of the main goals of this show for me, is to educate people. Because I hear so many faults, whether it's about the schools or the kids or whether it's about the city or the county or whatever it may be, trying to be proactive and tell stories before the negative gets out there, because we know the negative spreads a whole lot faster than the positive.
Right. Well, one of my goals for the next 100 episodes is to get that same Roy Sawyers in a chair.
Man, I've tried. He finally agreed to it one day. We just haven't made it happen. I'm still holding him to that. He did agree
because
to it.
because when we talk about chamber champions and celebrating victories, there is so much that goes on in this community that would never happen. And your success in many ways is tied to Roy Sawyer's, and
1,000%.
and he is so unwilling to step in front of the camera to take that crown, right? That
I
he
think
so
he's
deserves.
almost given up on me too, because he used to try to pin me down and try to tell me the next big thing and where we were going. So if I'm being honest, we've probably got to have a conversation about the next 100 episodes, because I have gotten to where things are so busy. And personally, just my children, 14,
You're in that stage.
12 and 9, and I am letting go. Everybody will be proud. I'm letting go of some things on the volunteer hat and in the personal world. But Roy has by far been one of the more silent, until it's time, right? He does a really great job behind the computer, behind the camera, on the social media, of being one of the biggest cheerleaders. And at the table, at the board, he speaks when he needs to, for sure. But yes, I think that would also be a goal of mine, to have him on this side. He did agree to it. I just haven't made him do it.
Well,
He's uncomfortable with that. I think he thinks that
the chair is not always comfortable.
No, it's not.
And I think that probably brings us to the point where we should address this. Thank you for being in the other chair. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to allow you to share what this program means to you, and how it's helped you grow, and what the 100 episodes feel like. So without further ado, what else would you like to cover before we wrap this up?
I think I just want people to know that it's never too late to be you and to own really who you are, who you're meant to be, and bring that perspective forward and in the light. I want people to know that you can, our door is always open. The chamber and the visitor center, our number one goal, we are an association. We are a membership organization. We have over 400 member businesses, organizations, individuals, industries who represent thousands of employees. But also our second audience is the community at large. So, that covers everybody.
Literally everybody.
Literally everybody, member or not, citizen of Reidsville proper or not. And we have become quite a regional organization. Our partnerships go beyond the city or the county limits. I just want people to know that there are so many good things happening here in our hometown and in our community. Please open your eyes, get engaged, go follow all the things on social media. Ask questions. There are tons of answers. I may not have the answer, but what I can do is find who has the answer. That's what we are good at. We are good at directing folks to the answer, or to the person or the organization who has the answer. I tell my staff that all the time. Never let someone go on the phone or in person without getting their information. If we don't have the answer, we will find the answer. And I think that so many times it is easy to get just in your daily routine. People have kids, people have spouses, people have family, elder care. That has come up a lot lately too. People have responsibilities, but sometimes you have to really sit back and evaluate. And this is the perfect time of year, right? We're coming up on that refresh of, okay, we flipped the calendar. 2026 is upon us. What are our goals for this year? What are our goals for this quarter? What is our goal for today? And that's kind of where this show is going, I think, is the next 100 episodes. it's about collectively saying, we are Reidsville. We are Rockingham County. We are in the number one state for business.
We are.
Let's take this by the horns and make it a reality for so many of the things that are almost there.
You can
So let's
taste it.
get them to the finish line.
Right.
Let's do it. All the things.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to take over the chair. I will be relinquishing the chair to you as you take on the next two guests, City Manager Summer Moore and Dr. Sylvia Cox, which is also a great victory for us in the community that we're very excited about. So we are so thankful to you for your leadership, for your authenticity, for your willingness to put Diane out to there and take on these 100 episodes. It has been a blessing to sit in the chair with you a few times. We're thankful for all the opportunities for this community to have 100 chances to celebrate victories, and you've made that possible, and I'm very grateful for it.
Well, I appreciate you. I am grateful for you. I'm grateful for my board who constantly stands behind me and lets me be extra and lets me be my authentic self. I am forever grateful to the original board that hired me and that continues to serve in some capacity or check in. I'm grateful to my family, my husband who also lets me be extra. Let's be clear that he knows and knew what that was. So, and this show was meant to be extra. And you saw the vision, and you had questions, as you always do, but you immediately jumped on board, and I'll be forever grateful for that.
Well, it's been an honor. And so with that, we wrap the celebration of the 100th episode, and we thank you to the community. Thank you for your constant support and for watching us enjoy this little trip down memory lane with Reidsville Chairman and CEO, and cheers to 200.
Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
Welcome back to the 100th episode of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views. I am now rightfully back in my place as the host, and I enjoyed immensely opening the show being interviewed by President of Tri-State Steel, Steve Scott. Now we are going to have my guest who has been on the show the most and the most recognized when I am out in public, City Manager Summer Moore, and her special guest, the Mayor Donald Gorham. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
I'm so thankful. Mayor, you just go along with all of mine and Summer shenanigans. It doesn't really matter what we're up to. You just say, yes, ma'am, and I will be there. Thank you for that. We're so appreciative of our relationship with the city. And as Steve alluded to previously on the show, we were talking about, in general, how the Chamber's role is a connector and how our role is to celebrate the good things that happen. And I really have tried over the years to own the positive narrative and to tell and spread the word. So, Summer, you have been my most, in 100 episodes, you have been the guest who's been on my show the most, even with the months that we've had to substitute with other city managers and leadership on your team. And we've had some great shows with them as well. But when I'm out in the community and I hear, I saw you on TV, you and that blonde-headed girl. Who is that? The city manager? That? What's her name? And so people really do take a minute when they see us and when we come across their screen, and they are listening and they are hearing the things. So I welcome you both to just talk about, here we are. It's December of 2025. And my News and Views has made it through 100 episodes, and where we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, but really none of it is ugly. It's things that people don't really know about. And one of my favorites is Public Works because it's not ugly. It might be dirty, right? Sometimes we have wastewater treatment and we have things that people don't want to. So Summer says this all the time. They take for granted when they turn the knob on the sink, when they turn that faucet, when they flush that toilet, they take for granted that it's going to work like it's supposed to. And it all starts with our awesome 365 days a year team down at the plant and the things that they're doing. Let's talk about where we are in December of 25. Public Works, I think the last I checked, it was like 31 projects or something that they had in the queue. Tell me where we are with that.
So we're really excited. I mean, Public Works, the talent that department has is just unimaginable. From projects such as our wastewater treatment plant projects, our water treatment plant projects. A lot of those projects our viewers and citizens don't see because they're behind the scenes. You will only notice it if you're in fact impacted by a water main break or a sewer leak. You will see it then. But it's amazing to me the talent that we have. A great place that showcases just some of that talent is our holiday decorations. As we're here for the month of December and as the holidays are upon us, I encourage everyone just to get out and drive in downtown Reidsville. When you go to start at Market Square, and when you see Market Square, you'll see in the very center of the stage, you will see a Home Alone house, all built by Public Works and their talented staff. You will see in the middle of Market Square a Snoopy airplane with a little landing strip, all built by Public Works. And then the really, really cool part, when you look in our bays at Market Square, they built all those platforms. That is just, that's something you don't think about when you think about Public Works, but the talent that our crews have and working together, because it will be a mix of those who are in the water division, the sewer division, lines divisions, and even in the Parks and Rec division. They all come and work together to make these seasonal displays for our residents and visitors to be able to enjoy. So that's a great example of where you can see just a taste of their talent when they're not behind the scenes, making sure we have quality drinking water and sanitary sewer services. So just couldn't thank those teams enough.
So much to unpack there. We must be doing something right when we hear, when we're managing our social media, we get so many comments, so many private messages. We'll be talking about something random like, a restaurant's menu for the holiday season. And somebody's like, gotta go downtown because those decorations are beautiful. And we're always quick to say, absolutely, City of Reidsville, their team, Summer's vision, and that team making your vision come to life is just incredible. And I know that was something, and we've been doing this now. Is this year 3 of decorations? Year 4. Oh my gosh, time flies. So year 4 of decorations. And Mayor, how do you think that has impacted how people visualize and see? Because so many people like me are visual and they want to see and they want to touch. What do you hear from people and what do you hear from citizens when they talk about the decorations in the fall and in the winter?
Well, they're amazed at the fact that our Public Works Department is doing the work. These are hidden talents that they have that they don't have to use on their everyday job and that they share. That shows their dedication to their jobs and to the city of Reidsville. In reference to the talent that they put on display, we've got people that come to Reidsville from Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point. As far as last weekend, I was at my brother's record shop. There was a couple there from South Carolina who had come up because they saw some video that had been sent to them by a relative here in Reidsville. And people as far as Georgia have been here too to see our decorations.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. And everybody looks forward to what's going to happen after it happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, it has become quite the tradition. There are multiple formal dances that happen during that time period, and they all come out and take their pictures, and they're looking forward to what's next, what's going to be different. And they can identify what year it was based on what the decorations were and how the kids have grown and changed. And I think that has to be an incredible environment for that department, because how much fun is that to do that's different from worrying about the streets or the water lines or the things that are in their normal stuff. And you're right, it's a hidden talent.
Yeah.
It's not something they do every day, but
Yeah.
how much fun is that probably for them to kick off the holiday season by being involved in something like they get to come to work and do something cool and something that so many people appreciate versus take for granted. It's got to be incredibly uplifting for that team and their morale.
Well, during the time that they're working on it, on occasion, I've been downtown kind of walking around, looking around, and they get compliments from the people on the street as to what they're doing. So that really makes them feel good. And their customer service, the big smiles on their faces, I mean, they enjoy all that. They take care of all that.
So one of the things that we've talked about on this show previously and today and the 100 episode are retirement. So the chamber has a couple, but you guys have had a couple, but you've brought back
Yeah.
some of the biggest smiling faces with some of the most talent to help. Tell me a little bit about that, and you know who I'm talking about.
So I cannot commend Lindsay Tuttle enough, along with Chief David Bracken. So this year was a very, very trying year for the Public Works Department, with the departure of our Public Works Director, who had a great opportunity in another municipality. But that kind of put us in limbo for a minute, and we were able to reach out to our former fire chief, David Bracken, to see if he would be willing to come back and serve as an interim director, and also was able to make the phone call to our retired supervisor, Mr. Lindsay Tuttle, to see if he'd come back and be an interim assistant director. And those two were like the yin and yang we were missing. They were able to make sure that department got the needs that they needed to be able to provide the services to our residents and our citizens. And then just to go above and beyond, the station wagon that you see down there from Christmas Vacation, Mr. Lindsay Tuttle went out and found that for us. I mean, there was no charge to that. He found the tree to cut down. Like, just the dedication that he did this year is to be commended, along with Chief Bracken, because in our greatest hour of need, they stepped into that department because of their love for the city of Reidsville and helped us through a very uncertain time until we could name that director and find that director. But it was just some of the visions that Mr. Tuttle had, to be able to sit there with him and say, I really want to do a Home Alone house. Okay, I'll sketch it out right now. And then he's been able to share that talent with our crews, such as our Public Works Operations Director, Josh Domina. Josh has been able to come right in there and pick that up and just run with it. And it's been incredible to be able to watch them grow. Last week, when they started decorating, actually 2 weeks ago, I wasn't able to be there. And I never had any doubt or any fear or any worry. That team with Public Works and our city staff, they nailed it. All that you see downstairs or downtown is 100% them. They went above and beyond. When I was able to come back, they wanted me to do walkthroughs and look, and I'm like, there's no fluffing needed. You all made this vision a reality, and I truly hope that's something that our team and our community is proud of, that we can continue on. And that's kind of been the vision. Even if one of us, is not able to be there or something were to happen, you have created a team that can pick that vision up and continue to create those memories for our community.
Mayor, what does that say about the leadership of Summer and them loving her so much and being a part of her team that they want to see that vision, and how they were able to do it even when she wasn't able to be there?
Well, when I was a school principal, I was in every classroom every day. I had a personal relationship with my teachers. I had a personal relationship with my students. I had a personal relationship with my parents. Summer has that kind of gleaming personality. She even knows people by their names, by their pet names. And that means a whole lot to staff, to know that those people who are above look down on them as more than just an employee, as a friend, as an actual part of the team. So I think our leadership has a whole lot to do with the dedication that we have in our employees, and those that leave, that want to come back, don't mind coming back. If you ask them to come back, they're right there. You know,
It says a lot.
that says a whole lot.
Well, that actually makes me think not just about the leadership, but about the fact that you weren't going to be able to be there. We know that we're going to be missing you for a little while. So huge congratulations
Thank you.
are in store for you and your husband. We are so excited for you and Nathaniel. And we are going to miss you while you're gone, but we know that you have an incredible team who is going to carry on
You will be
just great. And so we're looking forward to having, we have 3 assistant city managers, and we're looking forward to rotating them through the show and having them on. But we do have a few minutes today to just talk about, I know there's some things in the works. I know that we're here in December of 2025, and the things that you and I have covered, we've talked about this incredible Fab Festival and the team and the vision and the things that they did. I watched Lindsay in a meeting sketch stuff out on a paper and slide it to you. I've seen that in action. I've been able to be a part of some of the most incredible things that I've seen, witnessed, when it came to your vision and your team carrying that vision out. But we've talked about these partnerships, the things at the splash pad, the all-inclusive park, all of these fun things, the streetscape downtown, how incredible that has made downtown for walkability and for the beautification from the plants and the banners and the poles and the sidewalks. It's just incredible, the things that have happened. So where are we at? Where are we looking? What is the next 12 months? What do the next 5 years look like from council's perspective, from leadership perspective? Like, where are we at with the city of Reidsville? Because we've mentioned 5,000, rooftops and how that's going to drive things. So what's next?
So I think that's a really good question because, as we do know, we've got rooftops coming. We're posed for even more growth. We have to make sure that we have the infrastructure and we're providing amenities so that attracts those rooftops to want to come here, stay here, and reside here. So, when we look at 2026, Mayor Gorham and City Council, they're going to have a retreat in February. May not be there physically, but I will be watching via Zoom. But we've got some great things in store because one of the things I know that council has been on for quite a while is the vision for some of our lakes with Lake Reidsville and Lake Hunt. And staff has really been exploring some different possibilities. Is it able to be swimming at Lake Hunt? I know we can't do Lake Reidsville for water quality. Is there water activities that may be available at both or one of our lakes? So I think that's going to be something that you really see council's vision come into fruition in 2026 as the start of looking at more activities on our lakes. That's going to be huge, along with just ensuring, that we are making sure we're business friendly as far as looking at our UDO. The biggest thing I can say about our Unified Development Ordinance is it is not finished. And I cannot reiterate that enough. It is not finished. And because of our partnerships through the chamber and our community, we've been able to give a variety of different platforms for our citizens and developers to have an opportunity to go to the Reboot Reidsville website, ask questions, look at what we've got so far, and you have ample opportunity to submit that feedback. It is not a done deal. So that's another thing, that administration sees as we go into 2026 is really continuing to dive in that UDO and helping our citizens understand it's not a finished document. That document is a working document that is driven by council, the community, the developers. So that's going to be a big push in 2026. And then also some of our large water and sewer infrastructure projects. We've been really fortunate to get a lot of grant funding at the state level from our local representatives, both Senator Berger and Representative Pirtle over the last few years. We're actually able to get a lot of that up and going, such as our water treatment plant generator, redundant water line, also headworks analysis. All those big projects we've talked about so long on your show, they're coming to fruition and finalizing out, which just goes back to that opportunity to grow, to make sure we've invested in that infrastructure. So I think infrastructure, recreational activities, and rules and regulations are going to be a huge part of what you see with 2026 with the guidance of mayor and council.
Mayor, I think that Summer just kind of teed it up perfectly. When you think about leadership and you think about being not only an elected official, but the elected official governing the city of Reidsville as the mayor and your leadership on the council, and they look to you, when she says those things, how does that make you feel and what does that make you think about for the future? Because we have reached that point, and the chamber actually just did this post-COVID, where we were looking at policies, procedures, the stuff that's not very fun, but the infrastructure that solidifies your organization to be able to lead us into the next great thing. And so you don't suddenly have a bunch of houses or a mall renovation project that's going to bring all these businesses and, downtown businesses that we're not prepared for because we haven't done the hard, dirty work behind the scenes of getting things in place. Like, how does that make you feel about the future? And what are you most excited about along those lines in 2026 to set the tone for moving forward?
Well, back in 2021, when Summer came on board, I've told her this, so it's not something that she's hearing for the first time. We had a long list of people that we were going to hire. And I set her name aside as I was going through the list of people that we were going to interview. And everything that she spilled out to you today is the reason why. Most of what we're doing now is coming directly from her. So we're following her leadership in this. The revitalization of downtown, the decorations that mean so much, not only just to the people in Reidsville, but to people all around. Her ideas are just number one all the time. So in reference to the future of 2026, shucks, we're going to be on top. We're going to be number one.
And I think we already are.
Yeah.
And I think we are destined to continue under this leadership to grow and be the best Reidsville we can be.
And, I feel comfortable. I hate to see this situation where we're going to lose her for a while, but it's for a good reason.
It's a good reason.
It's a good reason. But her leadership style has just spread all the way through the workforce, the community. And Chris and Josh and Haywood are going to do an excellent job.
They absolutely are.
They're going to do an excellent job.
In your time on council and then as mayor, you saw, as did I, the concept of Team Reidsville be introduced,
Yeah.
take hold, and grow.
Yeah.
How does Summer embody Team Reidsville, and how has it flourished even more under her? Because we all know it has. How do you feel like her, like you just said it, like she's almost like this beautiful thing that just spreads life and breathes life into everything she touches.
Well, if I could use two football coaches as examples,
Of course you would.
Luke Rodney and Vince Lombardi, they made believers out of people who didn't feel like that they could do. When you were sent to Green Bay to play football, it was like being sent to the backwoods. But Vince Lombardi made winners out of those people. She makes our people feel good about themselves and feel good about what they do. And that makes them work harder. It builds that dedication that they have for the city. And that's what we had to do in reference to that marriage with the chamber.
That's right.
Because it was fractured at one time, but we brought that together. We can't operate sufficiently and efficiently without chamber help.
That's right.
And
So
it was
you
fractured.
mean a whole lot to us.
Oh, thank
you
you.
mean a whole lot to us.
And it was fractured for a number of years on both
Yeah.
parties.
Yeah,
But I will tell you, Summer also holds her people accountable.
yeah,
She
does.
also holds the community accountable, and she holds the chamber accountable,
Yeah.
so that we can all be the very best that we can be together. And that's my favorite thing about her, is that she is like the sweet
Yeah.
and the spice, because she holds us accountable, but she makes us want to be accountable for the things.
She has a way of doing it that's not threatening.
Right.
And and that means a whole lot. That
It
means a whole
does.
lot.
Well, Mayor, I would say the same for you. And I would say that you have, and I love, you remind me, you know what? You and your buddy Robbie City and your analogies, the two of y'all together, I feel like if we were to put you two in a room together and just say go, it would be this crazy conversation of analogies because Robbie loves his leadership and sports analogies too. And you guys together are quite a pair. And, you know, he's a big part of how the chamber and the city were able to mend fences and create this dynamic partnership. And I talked about that. You guys weren't privy to that, but when you get to go back and watch, Steve and I talked a lot about how Robbie and Preston created something and passed the baton to Summer and myself. And Robbie brought it up again this week. He said, I told you that you would have to be the one to have the relationship in this situation. And he was like, you've done everything that I asked you to do to be able to create, because you know, Steve brought up, he said, you cut the red tape for people. And he was like, and the way that you do that is you take it to the mayor and to Summer and to Summer's team. And you say, guys, this isn't going to work. How do we fix it? How can I fix it? What can I do? How can you fix it? We got to figure it out, right? Because at the end of the day, like, we all want a better Reidsville and a better community. Summer, you're bringing a child into this community to raise, and you and I have talked about this, like the reality of 2025 and where the world is. Like, it's scary to think about, okay, what happens, and I'm there. My first week at the chamber, my oldest was 12 weeks old. So I understand what it's like to be in these roles and to be thinking about not just your team, but your family. And what you're creating and building and how it's going to affect you individually, your family, your household, your street, your neighborhood, your community, your government. And I think one of the things that I love about you the most is you continue to give people the benefit of the doubt, and you continue to be open. And you continue to open doors and make paths where we didn't have paths before. And that's something that you have been incredible at with the leaders around the county and around the state. I mean, I'm so thankful to be in this partnership with the two of you. And I welcome the conversations, as I know you do, and I know you do as well. We say it, my door's always open. Please come and talk to us. So my favorite thing about this show and kind of what we're talking about today is just, we constantly give updates. We constantly give transparency. We want people to know the good things that are happening, but we want people to know who the people are. And Summer, you have followed my lead on the show and allowing people to see who you are personally, not just Summer or not just city manager more, but who Summer is. And I love that you come in your vibrant signature pink and that you are here as this leader, and you have made Reidsville your home. And I love that. I love that you have owned and embodied the full spirit of Team Reidsville. And we could not be more grateful for that, because Mayor, if you remember, and so we were talking about it before the show, we are on pins and needles because it's time. It's state championship game time again. It's on the line this weekend. And we are ready. And we are ready to be a part of something that we can all get behind. And that's where Team Reidsville came from. When they interviewed each and every one of us, they said, and they came back to City Hall and they said, listen, we don't want to make this about Reidsville High School and the Reidsville football team, but everybody talks about football. So, and then it's become basketball. And then we've got this softball. And then we've got soccer. And then we've got, and all these things that are happening both at Reidsville and at Rockingham and in our other schools across the county. And people get behind kids and youth sports. And you have little league teams going to Florida. I mean, there's all these amazing things that are happening, and what Sharon Galloway's been able to do with that group. And so they said, okay, take from the Pee Wee group all the way to the high school, to those seniors, to your Deontay's and your Kendra and all of those, right? And take them. How do we take that and that what everybody, and look, I'm sitting up on my seat as I think about it. How do we take that excitement and put it into everything that we do. And Team Reidsville was born. And I remember looking at Preston in a meeting, and I said, okay, well, there's this great logo and this great thing. Who owns Team Reidsville? Everybody.
Exactly.
And I was like, so you're telling me that if I want to put something out and I want to put the Team Reidsville logo on it, we absolutely. And I thought, what a boo for city government
Yeah.
to let go and be a part of something and kickstart and ignite that fire and then let it go. And it has grown as a grassroots effort into something incredible.
Yeah.
And we are all Team Reidsville. And we will all be Team Reidsville this weekend as we're rooting on that state championship team.
Exactly.
I love it. I love every piece of it. Every business, every industry, every small business, every person, every citizen, every child, every elected official, every government leader, everybody. We are Team Reidsville.
Yes.
And we are all a part of that cheerleading team. We're all part of that band. We are all a part of that dance team. We are all Team Reidsville. And I think that's what it's about.
Yeah.
I think as I reflect on the 100 episodes, with you being my most, I guess, viewed, probably because of the times, but also the number of times that you have come and sat in that chair. You are busy. You are busy. But to give up your time to say to the citizens and the viewership that we have grown, this is who we are. This is what we're doing. The door's always open. And I'm going to continue to come back and tell you about the work that we believe in and how hard we are trying to make this the absolute best place to live, work, play, sleep, eat, do business, all the things.
But I think you nailed it too. Like with Team Reidsville and the approach, it all starts with partnerships. And I think the chamber has been probably the biggest cheerleader for Team Reidsville and partnerships, whether it's the different series we've been able to do together with your leadership and your board's leadership through the Place Your Bet, through the utility ones we've done. I mean, that starts with vision and partnership, Diane, and I think you embody Team Reidsville. And I think that has to be commended. I mean, this is your 100th show. And, we live in Rockingham County right now. Unfortunately, we don't have daily or weekly or biweekly newspapers. We have very limited means to get information out to the public. And for the chamber and you as the chamber's leader to step up and see this void, like you guys need to be commended for that, because the show that you guys produce along with Roy Sawyer's and his commitment, I mean, it reaches so many people just to say, hey, we're here. This is what's going on with our business community, our government community. Here's what we want you to know. And so many chambers don't take that vision approach. And you guys have just knocked it out of the park. And you should be very, very proud of that. And I have to say the same thing for Mayor Gorham and City Council. When we first met, I met Mayor right here in Penn House that morning. I'll never forget. We were both out in the parking lot, and I know I looked like a duck out of water because I had no idea where to go. But he invested along with the rest of City Council in a partnership with me. And I remember telling them that I wanted this to be my home. I got married right here in this building. I'm having a baby girl here very soon. And just to be able to take that partnership and the trust, because without the partnership that we have with Mayor Gorham and City Council, what our vision as city leaders and city staff, it wouldn't happen without coming from the top with them and their support. They're so supportive with our Battle of the Cup, with our holiday luncheon that was just here, because all of council, Mayor Gorham, they love our employees. They love this community. And the fact that both of you are here today on the 100th episode, I mean, it's my honor to sit on these couches with you, because you took a chance on my partnership. I'm just happy to be able to be part of the bigger partnership that you both, along with your teammates, have established with Team Reidsville.
I appreciate so much you kind of bringing it all home there. Do you know, I'll never forget, it was COVID, right? And so there were lots of virtual meetings. And the first time I met Summer was virtually through a Zoom where I was part of the panel. The city then still even wanted, my input, wanted us to go through the series. And I'll never forget the dogs barking and you tried, and you were like,
I'm sorry.
No, and you were like, I'm sorry. And we were all these things. But I mean, we had forced a virtual situation because of COVID, and you know, your personal story, like, is so important to me. And I love so much that you were looking for a home and that you and Nathaniel were looking to make a home. And you felt that we made you feel when you were able to get off the Zoom and you were able to come here in person and meet. And I loved the authenticity of who Summer is. From the minute on the Zoom to the in-person visiting downtown. And if you remember, I made Robbie meet you.
I do.
Because I had a conflict and I couldn't, and I was so upset about it. And these things that have happened I never believe that things happen by just happenstance. I firmly believe that we are placed in people's paths and in time the way they're supposed to be. And when I came to this position, I hated the word cheerleader because I was 29 years old and I was a female in a position that was not welcome by the good old boys, business leaders of this community. And look how far we have come to the partnerships of Summer and a city manager that is a young female to our mayor, the first African-American male mayor, and myself as a childbearing age chamber president, because they had to create policies for me that they did not have, because having babies was not something that people in the leadership of the chamber did. And look at the three of us and where we have come together and how we are like blazing paths. And I am so proud of who we are, because I say that, I'm like, look at our leadership. Look at our council. Looks like our community. When people look at our council, they see themselves looking back. And we are creating something that people want to be a part of. And I'm so thankful for just, again, the embodiment of Team Reidsville and who Reidsville is. We stand out. And we stand out in this community because we are taking chances and have been for years that other places weren't. So we're trailblazers. And I have said that, like the council, the staff, you took a chance on somebody that you knew was going to do big things. And we elected a mayor that we knew was going to do big things. And I'm so thankful for all of us. And as I reflect on where 100 episodes has come and well over 100 years of the chamber and the partnership of the city and the chamber, we have done so much in such a short time. I am incredibly thankful for that.
And all of that because we communicate.
Yes, sir.
I mean, there's not anything about the city of Reidsville that I don't feel comfortable talking to her about. There's not anything about business in Reidsville that I wouldn't feel comfortable talking to you about. And not just myself talking to you, you talk to me.
Yes, sir.
And Summer talks to me. And you know, we all need one another. We need everybody in order to make this what it is.
We do. And you know what I used to say to people, and I guess I'm going to have to come up with something new. Maybe it's reverting back, but I used to say to people, I have everyone on Summer's team, and including you, I have texting relationship with. I can text, because that used to be the most personal way that you could communicate with somebody. Well, that's becoming very common. So I guess we're going to have to go back to phone relationship, because now I know if I call you, you're going to answer the phone. And if I see either of your names come up in my email or on my phone or in my texting, I know that it is imperative that I pay attention, because we are doing big things. We are so much out of time, and it is okay because we didn't put time limits on today, but I would love to invite both of you both back on the show, and Summer when you return, of course, but also invite both of you now if there's anything that we haven't covered or anything you would like to say in reflection of Reidsville, of moving forward, of 100 episodes, what the next 100 episodes for the chamber, what that looks like, or what you think. I would love to have any other thoughts.
Well, I would just like for the citizens of Reidsville to continue to trust us and know that we're going to do the very best that we possibly can to make Reidsville the best place in this world to live. And I'm not saying that just to be saying it. I really mean that. I feel that in my heart. We can make Reidsville the best place to live in this world that we live in. Using another football analogy, Vince Lombardi would often say that we can't be perfect, but we can work towards excellence. So that's what we want to do here in Reidsville. Work towards
Absolutely.
excellence.
I love it. It's beautiful.
And I love you two ladies.
We love you.
Oh, and we love you too.
Just like I told the employees yesterday, Team Reidsville, I love you, and it ain't nothing you can do about it.
That's right. I love it. Miss Summer, anything you'd like to add?
I couldn't have said it better. I just encourage our viewers to tune in, follow Rockingham Update, check out News and Views with Diane Sawyer at the Chamber of Commerce, because this is how you get your information. It's a great platform, and I just appreciate the honor and opportunity to be here today with two of my favorite mentors who embody Team Reidsville. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm so thankful we were able to work it out all before Miss Little Lady makes her appearance. So, all right.
Miss
Thank
Fisher.
you both so much for being here. It means the world to me. And I appreciate and love both of you dearly. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right. That is it for this segment. And stay tuned. Always more news and views in the future. And we'll see you soon. Welcome back to our final segment of the 100th episode of the News and Views show. I am so excited to have with us Dr. Sylvia Cox from Rockingham Community College. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be on the show. What an honor.
I am so excited. It is an honor, but it's because you have another special role that this whole show has kind of been about, themes. And we have you here as the first female president of Rockingham Community College, which is huge for us, and we are so excited.
I am so excited too, and it's quite the honor to be the president. But also I've realized with my own family, with people that have been a part of my life, and people that when I arrived here, that it's really been an honor to be the first woman president at RCC. So it has a tremendous history that I feel a quite responsibility to hold up, but I also feel like I'm bringing a different view in the world, but a great view, in being the first woman president of Rockingham Community College. So it's great.
There's so many things about that I think your perspective changes for the college, because at the end of the day, being a mother and how you nurture your family and your children and that role is very different. And so your perspective is going to be different, and the things and the attention to details and the things that you look at are just going to be different. So there is a rich history, but I think that it's time for it to take on a little bit of a different life. And I think you were just the right person to do it.
Well, I appreciate that. I really thought extremely hard before I even went through the process to apply. My children obviously are, or maybe not obviously, but I do talk about them a lot, have been the center of my world since I had the honor of being a mother. And they really have I've been the person to help educate them and lead them, but in a lot of ways, they've reversed that role. You learn so much by being a parent. You learn so much by being the friend of your children, right? And so not only do you get the opportunity to walk through this beautiful experience with your own children, the people that become very close to them, you walk through that with them. I've gone to 2 weddings of my friends' children, and starting to see some of that change, but they give you such a perspective, and they're as much there to teach you as that you're supposed to teach them, maybe even more. There's so much you learn from being a parent. And I do think that you bring that to the work that you do, and you see the work that we do at the community college becomes really fresh and different because you've experienced it in some ways through being a parent. So
There are so many perspectives, but it's so interesting. One of my favorite things about the timing of when you came. And we're talking about children and talking about family, and I've been able to get to know Drew and been able to have,
Right.
you guys at some events, and I hope to meet your children and spend time with them at some point.
That's
But
right.
one of the exciting things is my own child being a part of the early college and being a freshman, and being on campus every single day. And so now I'm on campus every single day at some point. And it's just, it's a different world. And it's so exciting that you have taken on this role of getting to know the families, the students, the community, the leaders, because it really is its own little world. And I have the pleasure of having my board chair be on your team. And so I have so many ties to the college right now. And out of my immediate family, my mother, my father, my brother, and my husband all attended at some point, and now my daughter. And so I guess it's left to me. I guess I've got to come back for something. And
We
do
can
something.
certainly sign you up for something for sure.
I'm sure we could do that. But
Yeah.
it's, for me, for a long time, I watched my mother come back to nursing school while I was a student in elementary school. And so it's grown from there. I love the campus. I remember the folk festival days back in May. I remember there's so many things that I love about it. So I'm getting to see the college in a new light in my own journey. So it just felt right as we were celebrating the 100th episode, and we've celebrated on the last segment, Summer Moore as our city manager and the mayor, and that there are a lot of firsts in their roles. So it just seemed right that I thought the timing, you've been here long enough, but you to be our special guest today and for us to be able to talk about it. So you're here. You're what, 7 months?
Almost 7.5.
Yeah.
Yes,
7 months in.
Right.
Where are we? What are we thinking? What's happening? Tell us about what's going on. What are you most excited about?
There's so
So
many
much.
things. I keep telling everyone in this community, do you know how great this whole county is? It really, I had to decide before I even applied to the college. I grew up and lived, and for a little while I went to college, and then I quickly came back home and raised my children with my family and my extended family. And so it was quite a leap to come to this very different spot in your life. It's like, it really is like another chapter. And all of a sudden, those same questions you asked when you were young, I found myself at a much different age going through that again. What's next in my life, and trying to get clarity about what that I need to do. And through the years, I'd had the wonderful opportunity of serving my own community, and people would say to me, I think you have potential to be president. And of course, I was always a mom first, and my children were still in school. And I was like, I can't even think about that. And I'm loving the work that I'm doing. But suddenly your nest gets very empty and your life starts to change. And so when I did start to think about applying for a presidency, I knew the most important thing was the community first, and then the college, because the college should be a reflection of the community. And you really I needed a place that I could call home. That is so important to me. And so I did some work, and it's almost been a year ago that I quietly came and spent days in this community when no one knew who I was. And Drew and I would come around, and we just go to local shops and go to different places and just get a feel for how people were in the community. And it was incredible how kind and generous people were to complete strangers. And we would come back from every visit, and I go, yeah, this feels right. And so it's been incredible to take that on. And the day that I came to Rockingham Community College, and Drew was in the hotel waiting and probably praying the whole time for me. And I walked on that campus nervous. I had done my homework, but also it was like I stepped on that campus, and it sounds really not real, but I felt almost immediately at home. And I went through the day, and I met the people, and the community came out to meet me in the forum, and I met all the others, and I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe that this feels so right. And I know that it was it was part of my calling to be here, and to be at this point in my life and it be so radically different, to change and come somewhere different and feel so quickly like this is home, has been surreal. This is just a great place, and I'm so excited about it. And your story, and everybody gets to tell me their RCC story. So, that is such a gift that I get to carry with me, that is informing everything that I'm learning. And I try to take that back to campus, and I say over and over, do you all know what you've done here? Do you really know how you've impacted people? Do you really know the legacy that Rockingham Community College is? Sometimes in the day-to-day minutia of things, we lose sight of how great where we are really is. And so I've had the opportunity to remind everyone, wow, y'all are really great people that welcome new people and also love your traditions, but are excited about the future. And you've done a great work, and you're ready to poise yourself for the next one. And I'm so excited to be a part of that. There's so much that aligns with what this community is leading towards that I'm just like, oh, this is so good. I love this work. And so I'm so excited to get the opportunity to just take it to the next level. There's so many good things. The early college, the CTE Innovative High School, it was almost as if I was in the beginning stages of writing the proposals for that high school because I love it so much. When I read Level Up and what this community came together to put together, I was like, oh my gosh, I've created pathways in healthcare, advanced manufacturing, and construction. I started a construction program previously at the college I left from, and now, oh my goodness, I'm continuing this work. But the synergy, and you feel it in the air and you hear it in the conversations. That this county, these communities have had this rich history, but something more is getting ready to happen. And it's our job at the community college to be ready for that and to lock arms with our community, because we really are the North Star, the glue of this whole community. We have the potential to pull all those things together, to be an arm for economic development, to educate our community, to bring people back to want to reinvent themselves. They get to do it with us, and then to be great community partners. And when I said, hey, let's get to festivals and fairs, and that's where we meet our community. The faculty and staff at Rockingham Community College they said okay, and all of a sudden, in just a short amount of time, we were everywhere in this community in the fall. And it's just been incredible to say to folks, why not, let's give this a try, and them to go, yes, we're committed, and to hear the great stories, but to see what a legacy we have, but what potential we have in the future is boundless. It really is.
And your excitement is contagious. And I love that you see things the way that those of us who have been waiting for all of the things and all the places in the community to break free are starting to break free. And we do all have our own RCC stories, and we do have the ability to jump on board and link arms and be partners. I'll never forget, I was on campus that day, and I was in the Workforce Development Center, and I was watching you, and I couldn't stay, and I had been invited to be a part, but I couldn't stay, but I was watching you through the glass as I walked through, and I was like, that's it. That's her. Because your excitement, and you were talking with your hands, and I talked with my hands, and I was like, I like her. And I'll never forget saying to Jennifer Lester, I was like, that's it. She's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't even seen anybody else, and I don't care. I was like, it's her. And she said, I think you're right. I hope so too. And so it was incredibly exciting to hear the news, and being able to come to the ceremony and to be a part of that. to see you guys out in the community, to be able to invite you and have you be a part of what we've been doing. It's all so humbling for me too, because my daughter was able, she could have been in an inaugural class of the CTE and she was torn, right?
Right,
CTE or early
right.
college, what made the most sense? But she is thriving and life is well. And it's incredible to think about my 14-year-old being a college student, and
Absolutely.
it's so amazing. And there's the dual enrollments, and there's so many things that the youth of our community, but then also at every age, that people can be a part of something that's so much bigger than themselves and bigger than their families. The skill sets, the employable skills, the things that are starting to grow. We built this great big building in hopes of being able to recruit and attract those businesses and industries, and being able to keep our youth here and to keep our folks here when they find themselves in that empty nest and what's next. So
That's right.
kudos to you for just jumping all in 1,000%, raring to go. And the fact that you came along and that your husband came along, he is incredible. Like, he was just the nicest man. And you can tell he is so supportive of the role and the thing that you have chosen, and that you chose this together for this next stage in your life. I love everything about it.
I asked it was a family decision. The mother in me, right? They were off from home, and I pulled them all together, and each one, they only knew one home. So we sold their childhood home. And, they loved their small town and love where they are now. But it was truly a family decision. I said to my children, we are all in all this together. This is where I think that I need to go next. But I can't do it unless I have your permission. And I can't do it unless that I have my husband's support. And my son and my daughter and my youngest son were just, first of all, like everybody else in my little small town, they were like, what? You're going to do what? But then when they thought about it, they said, Mom, you spent a lifetime telling us that we could do anything that we wanted. And not only have you spent a lifetime of joy telling us, but we've watched you your whole career tell everyone you have to believe in yourself, and then put the work behind your belief. And when you put those two things together, I promise you, with a little bit of time, you can do whatever you put your mind to. And he said, you say that to everyone. You said it to us. How could we not tell you, go after your dreams? And he said, you do you. We are behind you. And we can't wait to watch you do what's next. Oh my goodness. What a gift for your children. You're doing life and you're raising them, and you don't realize how much they're watching, not just what you say, but really watching what you do and how you treat people, and how you, on both sides, right? There's a encouragement. I do all those assessments and all the things about how to learn how my abilities, our team's abilities. One of mine is encouragement. So I love to encourage people and help them get in the right place. And when they're in the right place, one of my strengths is to really help people to continue to see their potential to go and go. So I've been doing that and loving that, but also saying, wait, hold up. That's not who you are. That's not, you can do better than that. Let's step back and think about how we can do that, because that's part of it too. So spending a career has been an honor to be able to help people put those things together and help them with their dreams. That's been incredible as well. But to know that you come to this point in your life and your own children and your own family have watched you to do that, and to say to you, now it's your turn. And then for the stars to align like they did and everything to fall into place like they did was absolutely positively incredible. And when this community, the biggest ceremony I've ever had next to my wedding was the installation. And it was, you were nervous and all that, but when this community came out to celebrate Rockingham Community College and me, it just was really that just final thing that you are where you are meant to be, and you are with the people that you need to work with, and you are going to be a part of just a thing that is going to be so amazing when we get the opportunity. And everything up to this point has been amazing, which makes it wonderful. And I said then, I'm not here to reinvent the mission. The mission of the college is good. I'm just here to reignite it. And let's see how we do it in 2025 and 2030 and 2035. How do we give that same gift that we gave all to generations of the past, to a generation that's facing a little bit different world than I did, and all those folks who are in our county who are like, okay, it's time, like me, to do something different. We're the opportunity door. And we, if business and industry are looking at this community, they're looking at Rockingham Community College too. And the investment that this county, with a 1/4-cent sales tax, has given to this college is such a blessing. And that building is just the beginning of building a workforce and to build what we need to not just make that college important. The college is only important if Rockingham County is thriving. And how are we to be a part of that, and the people of the county is thriving? And so if you want to build a workforce, if you want to build community, research shows it, if the people who go to a community college tend to, at much higher paces, live, work, play in that community, and it all gets the opportunity to start right at RCC. And so what an honor to be able to be a part of that.
It's incredibly amazing to hear your excitement and the things that you've already started with. Let's go out and meet the community. Let's be at all the fairs, be at all the places, let's be at all the festivals. Since this is a reflection show and we're in the 100th episode, the next time I have you back, several episodes down the road,
That's right.
what do you hope that we are talking about, that we've been able to accomplish or ignite in 2026? Where do you think that we'll be?
So I think that we're going to continue, and we've got a lot of momentum around. We have apprenticeships, we have Rock Top, but we also, I think, have lots more opportunities to continue that work for both youth and adults. So I think you're going to see more of internships. I might have asked people a few times to consider the opportunity for a young person or a traditional student having the opportunity to be in an internship that could turn into a pre-apprenticeship or apprenticeship, or maybe it's just an internship, because students need the opportunity to engage with the community, because there's only so much that can happen in the confines of our classroom walls or our simulations and our clinicals, and we're thankful for all of that. But when students get the opportunity to take that learning in a real non-scenario event, a real event, and apply it and work with real people in the field, it is life-changing. And it also becomes life-changing for that industry partner, because what we want to do is start aligning people to, I want the synergy of young people to say, I think I want to continue to live here. This is a great place. I live in a great place, and I will continue to make it a great place by living here. So we want to talk to students about, you can go anywhere, but why not? First place on your list to consider is right here at home, because we need you. And give them opportunities to work here, to experience work, to work with those business and industry partners and really lean in and listen and say, the world is ever changing very quickly, and the world of work is rapidly changing. So we have to keep leaning in with those business partners. And so I want students to have those opportunities, but I also want our business partners to say, wow, Rockingham Community College is involved in the community, but they are listening to me. They are really getting quiet and listening. And then they're coming back with really good solutions to our problems. And they're coming up with really good solutions, and they're listening because most of the time they've got the answer. We just need to figure out how to deliver it in engaging activities and modules and assignments to students so that we're there to bridge the gap. And I want there to be industry partners who say, one of the big reasons that I decided to land here is because of Rockingham Community College and what they're doing for the community. And I want small business owners to go, and I want the entrepreneurial spirit of this community to ignite, because we can help you with that too, right? My son's a small business owner and worked with the community college. So, 25% of the workforce now is freelance and small and, those kind of businesses. I want everybody to at least consider that entrepreneurial spirit and consider how we can help them take that next step and ignite those, because those small business owners are the backbone of your community, right? And then, some of them also go on to be bigger businesses. And then when they start and live here, they're giving back. They're giving back. They're giving back. They understand the community and they know the niches. They know how to make things happen. And so I want people to say all those great things started with RCC. And you know what? They're just our friends. They're just our neighbors, right? We just want to be present in the community, in the festivals, at the chambers, with everything, because that's how we get to know our and build relationships and get to know what the community needs from us. But also, we just get to be a part of this great community, and that's it. Just sometimes when we're somewhere, it's just because we're just being a part of the community and present. And that is so good. And that is so critically important to serving here. A lot of community colleges, the community college I came from, it was chartered in 1964, but it was chartered for 7 counties. Rockingham, and a lot of community colleges were started for multiple counties. Rockingham Community College was chartered and established for Rockingham County. And it has been the singular focus of this college for 2026, 60 years, right? We might need to be inviting people to a party, right?
Right.
But how special is that? So I want people to, again, to realize that this is where we started. But 60 years later, we are all about Rockingham County. And everything we do begins and ends with how can we support the citizens, the business and industry, the nonprofits, the chambers, the community members in this county. And we are uniquely designed as a community college to be able to address so many things and to be a leader in pulling this whole community together. And when I come back again, I want to be able to talk about examples of how we're just doing that and just being good partners, right? It's not about us. It's about us being in partnership with all the people in our community.
And I think you are perfectly posed to do that. So that is awesome.
Right.
Well, we are out of time. If you can believe that, it goes so quickly.
It does.
Are there any parting words and thoughts about that?
I just can't say enough in this really time that we're celebrating how absolutely thankful I am to be a part of this community, and how thankful I am for how you and all the other chambers and all the community just like you wrapped your arm around me and said, welcome.
Literally.
Really? And my children are here and excited and going, this is a great community. And it's not because we didn't love the community that we came from. We dearly
home.
did. It was home. But how surreal to go, oh my gosh, for them to already feel so much like home. And that is because of the precious, genuine, hardworking, community-loving, family-loving, faith-loving people in this community. And I will never be able to say thank you so much for welcoming me in. It's not been that I've come to a job. I've come to home, and I've come to community. And, my husband has we're laughing about how many friends he has here already and how we already feel so much at home. And I can't thank this community enough. Thank you for the honor of allowing me into the faculty and staff at RCC. I'm so thankful for for what they do, for them jumping on already to a person who says, I think I have an idea. It's just been incredible. And I'm very, very thankful for that.
Well, we are very thankful for you, and we are excited to see what the future holds.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. So thank you. Thank you for being on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's my honor.
I'm so glad. All right, folks, that is it for the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views. As always, you can find us in the heart of downtown Reidsville at 140 South Scale Street, or on our socials and at our website, reidsvillechamber.org. Stay tuned for more from the Reidsville Chamber. I just want to take a moment. This is a moment of gratitude and just say thank you to our viewers. Thank you to the constant support from Rockingham Update, who produces this show, and Roy Sawyers, who came to me so many moons ago. And I'm so incredibly honored. I love it when people come up and tell me they have watched the show and they have listened to the show. I am incredibly grateful to my board, my ambassadors, my staff, my people who help continue the vision of the chamber, and specifically this show. I had a vision how to celebrate my 100th show. I'm incredibly grateful to one of my mentors and friends, Mr. Steve Scott, president of Tri-State Steel, who took time out of his busy schedule to come and to flip the mic and to interview me. I'm incredibly grateful to expecting mother, but dynamic city manager, Summer Moore, and our incredible mayor, Donald Gorham, who came and took time out of their busy schedule to celebrate with me, to reflect on past episodes and past work and relationship, and to talk about the future of Reidsville and what 2026 and the next 100 episodes look like. And I am extremely honored that Dr. Sylvia Cox, our very first female president of Rockingham Community College, graced us with her presence today as the actual guest of the news piece of the News and Views show today. When we began News and Views, and we named it Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views, it was very much designed to be interview style, but to bring information, transparency, and the absolute positive narrative of the beautiful things happening inside of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce, our membership, our community, the city, the county, the region. I could not be more incredibly thankful. Thank you individually to Miss Emerald Stone, Emmy of the Penn House, who helped today, Katie Wren, my right hand, who helped today, and also Roy. They helped make the vision possible, and I am just honored. And as we are less than 2 weeks away from Christmas and 3 from the end of the year, I am incredibly humbled and honored to be a part of something so special. I cannot wait to see what 2026 holds for the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views show. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to share and continue to tell people so we can continue to spread the good news.